Hey there, it's Mazzy, and welcome back to Whack-A-Mole number 185. Finally, we can have some fun. The sun is out in Seattle. It's beautiful in the, high 60s, low to mid to upper 70s here. We have spring, summer, finally. And the heavy metal nightmare is over. All that Black Sabbath stuff I've been showing and everything, and I probably listened to those records, 30 to 40 times collectively, that first album, and I enjoyed it immensely. But it's time to move on beyond the metal Black Sabbath stuff. And as I said earlier, I saw them twice in the early 70s, between their third and fourth album, and then once after that, a year or two. Doesn't mean any better. It's just that I saw them then, and I like the early stuff. I like the first 3, 4 albums, but enough of that. Wearing the Empire Records and Cafe, Coffee and Records. What is it called? Roasteries and Records. Roastery. This is the closest record store to me, and one of the two closest cafes. Down the hill in Columbia City, the historic Columbia City area of Seattle, South Seattle, is a cafe that's been around since I moved here, just before I moved here. So it's over 10 years old, Empire Roastery. And it is in a kind of a modernist loft building, a very slender building. And they now have the second and third floor, very narrow. You can walk up and sit and do your work on your laptop there. But the second floor is a record store. I don't go there a lot, and I always forget about it because it's mostly new stuff. And doesn't get new releases like all the other stores, so it's a little different, but they have some cool stuff there, and it's definitely worth a visit. There's a little outdoor patio you can sit at, and there's some cool restaurants and bars down there, Columbia City. So when you're in Seattle, check out Empire. I did purchase it. It's not a freebie promotional thing, but I love this logo. Look at that logo. Okay, I mean, a good logo is, and I like the logos like this. I don't like those big giant logos. I mean, and people's faces on them. And okay, I digress. So, Whack-A-Mole number 185 or 186, one of the two. Five random pulls, and I'm going to share them with you. So I just wanted to loosen up, get back in a business here. And then I have a lot of new releases that I need to really jump into. I've been listening to new music, new records, some great jazz stuff that's come in that I purchased, and other records. So over the next week, there'll be more of that. And there's a major release on the way to me from a label that is a promo. And once I digest that, I'll showcase that sometime next week, probably. So, all right. 1, number 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, let's see what we got here. We got 5 records. I'm going to put these down here. It's not cheating, but just putting them down. Okay. Tony Joe White. This is, I can't remember if this was a record store day or just a separate release from Real Gone Music. Tony Joe White is a great Southerns in New Orleans, but he's from the South. Very kind of swampy, R&B, soulful, bluesy rocker. Great records. I mean, he just died, I'm saying the last 5 or 6 years, but made great records. What's the song? Something Annie? Da, 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 da. Is it on here? Does he do that song? One of his big songs. Polk Salad Annie. There's a long version on here. He's just got a very rootsy sound, very organic, very Americana, very American, and country flavor. Again, swampy. Swampy is the perfect word for Tony Joe White. I love his records. This is an interesting record. It wouldn't be my first choice. The black and white covered one, I think that originally came on Warner Brothers. Was it called Black and White, maybe? That is the one, and I urge you all to check that album out. Can I check it out? Let me just show you. Come on. You want to see music? It's all about the music. So, White. W-H. Here we Tony Joe White, Tony Joe White, Tony Joe White. Where is it? Ah, this one. This is the one to get. This is Acoustic Sounds version. They did an amazing version. Chad did a great version of this. Yeah, it's called Black and White. But any version of this, grab it if they still have this one in print. Again, Acoustic Sounds, Analog Productions did a fantastic job. But I just thought I'd throw it in because this is a wonderful record. This is the one to get. And maybe if you only want one, this is it. So there you go. Okay, next. We've just been talking about Vertigo. How is that, man? Coincidence, no special effects having me picked, but this is Rod Stewart. This is An Old Raincoat Won't Ever Let You Down. Now, this is the UK, obviously, the swirl, and this is probably, I can't remember if this is a first or second press. This is the record, I forgot what it's called. It's called something different in the UK, in the US. On the US, it was on Mercury Records. I strongly prefer his Mercury Vertigo stuff over the Warner Brothers stuff. Of course, I like the first few Warner Brother records are quite nice. And after a while, Do You Think I'm Sexy, the disco stuff, it's a novelty thing. And I know it was his most popular and it made him a lot more money. Tonight's the Night, though, I like that, though. But I like the Mercury stuff, the Vertigo stuff. And this record is one of the great ones because it's not that my favorite. The favorite is one with Maggie May. And just is a great thing of folk. His Tim Hardin cover of Reason to Believe, I think that's the song. It's just a stupendous singer and beautiful records, really interesting takes on folk music, and he rocks it out. And it's got just a great vibe to it, mandolin, wind, all that. This has a great cover of the Rolling Stones' Street Fighting Man and the classic traditional Man of Constant Sorrow on here. So I just like his musical choices here rather than second guessing. I shouldn't say second guessing, but it seems to me just for pop hits. This was the true thing of Rod Stewart. And when he was with the Faces too, I like that a lot. And Handbags and Glad Rags is on here. An Old Raincoat won't, but a fantastic record. Just coincidentally, we're in this whole Virgo. In fact, yesterday, my Black Sabbath thing was like the big Virgo, about it. So, excuse me, Vertigo, not Virgo. I'm a Virgo. This is a Vertigo. See, we're totally different beings. But Rod Stewart, and different cover than the American, different titles. So, love this record. And this is, I don't know if this is an OG or second press, but it's a quite nice sounding record. Okay, next. Okay, this is nice. This is the debut album by The Clash. Let's get it out of here. This is an original UK copy during my record store days, 1977. I believe this came out. This is CBS, made in England. And this and the American edition have a slightly different track list configuration. I don't remember the differences, but of course the only band that matters is The Clash. To me, my favorite of the UK punk bands, hands down. They just had that great thing about songwriting, true rock and roll, not as hardcore as some of the hardcore bands. I'm not against hardcore punk at all. I saw a lot live, but when I play it in my house, this is the kind of punk I want to listen to over hardcore, like the LA hardcore I keep thinking about. Or even San Francisco, and I saw a lot of those bands when in San Francisco. But you got on here, I'm So Bored with the USA, White Riot, London Burnings, Career Opportunities, which they would do an interesting cover, a remake of that, I think on Sandinista with the little kid singing that, which is kind of a novelty really, but kind of fun. Garageland, Police and Thieves. But again, the UK track list, the original copy, fantastic record. One of the great punk records from 1977. The Clash debut on CBS Records. God, this is crossover time, not on purpose. We're getting into heavy metal now. After that Black Sabbath, I can't get away from it. Pulls me back in. We got Machine Head by Deep Purple. This is it their fifth or sixth album? I'm not sure. 1972, I know that because I remember Smoke on the Water is on this record. And that was written about the big fire. Was it Zappa? Who was that? What band was playing when that place, I think in Montreux or in Switzerland somewhere, was burning down the club? and that song was written about that, Smoke on the Water. I love this period. Ian Gillan is the singer now. I saw them twice, around 72, 73, so probably around the, might have been this tour. I love his voice, and Ian Gillan is the better Jesus Christ. Forget Ted Neely. He was Jesus Christ on the first Jesus Christ Superstore box set on Decca Records from 1970. I love him as Jesus. I did see also Deep Purple in 1968 at the San Francisco International Pop Festival in Alameda when the first album came out, and I absolutely love that album. That was it. Rod Evans was the singer on that album, but the song Hush didn't really do well in the UK, as I recall, but it did well in the US. That Joe South song, a fantastic version of Hush. I'm pivoting a little bit, but it's in line with the band and the music of the band. But they did a great version of the Beatles song "Help," and it's a slow version. I remember them at that festival doing that live. So did Hush and that. Hush was all over the radio then, and I just remember. I think I got tuned into it because of that middle period when they go da 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 right out of A Day in the Life. Right, that melody is lifted of Day in the Life, but it works great in that song. I don't know what else to say about this song. Highway Star, of course, is on here, which was heavy FM radio play at the time, and Space Truckin', of course. But the big thing. This is recorded actually, ironically, by the Rolling Stones mobile unit in Montreux, Switzerland. So it makes sense. So, 1972's Deep Purple, Machine Head. Oh, okay. We got now, this is a reissue from 2014. This is Can Soundtracks. I can't say a lot about this. I know, of course, the German prog electronic in that, Can is kind of, if I say neo-psychedelic, someone's going to jump on me because it's more electronic, psychedelic. It's definitely not ambient, but it's got that repetitive thing going. This is not my favorite Can album, but I ended up picking up most of their albums soon after I moved here. I used to have the first two as originals, and during my 95 purge, I got rid of them, but now I have them all. And of course, my favorite Can album, let me get it, CANCALLLCA. When you're looking fast, it's hard to find something. Just wait, just hold your horses. Here you go. Well, okay. These are my two favorites, all right? Mango Tango. Oh! And whatever that says. I love these records. These are great. This is an interesting record. I don't know it as well, so I'll be honest with you. I don't know it as well, but of course I know the band Can. Cool band. Of course, this is the one. No, Mando Tank. Well, these two. Okay. And, oh, shit, I pulled an extra one. I don't even know what to say about this. I'll pull one more because I feel I cheated my audience. I don't like to cheat my audience. I want to give you extra value for your dollar, even though you haven't pushed and donated anything. I think there's a little donate thing there. And I don't have commercials, remember, in the middle of my videos, like all the other vinyl videos you watch. Anyway, Future Days is another great record. So I have the majority. I don't even know how many records they had. And I am not a Can expert by any stretch of the imagination. So we'll do one more, just because. Oh. Dan Hicks and Hot Licks. This is a San Francisco outfit. This was their second album, first for Blue Thumb Records, produced by Tommy LaPuma, who did a lot of jazz crossover work. They did their first album on Epic Records, and they do cover a song. I believe it's it's not on here. I Scare Myself, they covered twice on two of their albums. I love I Scare Myself from the first album. And what's great about Dan Hicks this is a live album, and this is an amazing live album because Dan Hicks has such a sense of humor. His intros between his songs are hysterical. It's not a comedy record by any stretch. It's kind of a jazzy Western swing uh, fusion, acoustic bass with guitar, stand-up bass, violin with Sid. I forget his name, Sid, and then of course John, the guitar player. Where is he? Maybe he came in the next album. John Gurin, I guess. That's the bass player. And you got Naomi and Marianne on as the Hot Licks. And they have that little kind of a Boswell sisters, Andrews sisters background thing. But they have these sexy kind of background voices. Sometimes they sing leads, as they did later on the subsequent albums. But this is such an album. I feel like singing Coast to Coast, News from Up the Street, Where's the Money? It's a beautiful, jivey type of, I want to throw in jug band a little bit, but it's not really jug band. It's more interesting, I think, than jug band. It's a jazzy, rocky, country, Western swing. That is swing. It's a swing album in a way. By hook or by crook, Traffic Jam. A great record. Is this one of his better records? Maybe, but I don't know if it's their best. You can find their records cheap. Of course, this has the flip-up cover. Maybe not completely correct there. This is probably taken in Sausalito. They were all Bay Area all the time, and they did have years later. They got back together, and Dan Hicks was playing. They had a farewell tour at Davies Hall, the big symphony hall in San Francisco. He died, I'd say 10 years ago, maybe. But incredible singer and writer. One little side note, Marianne, I went to the two final shows when they split up. 73 or 4, they originally split up the first time. And they played 2 shows in a row, and I went both nights at Winterland. They opened up for the Kinks in that 73, those 273 shows. I went both nights. Because of that, Marianne got to know Ray Davis and the rest of the Kinks and ended up going on tour with them and sings on Preservation Act 2. And I believe she sings lead on one track because there's one track on the 2 double Best of Kinks album that BMG released. She sings lead on. She's got a beautiful voice. In fact, on one of the later Dan Hicks records, she does a cover of the song that was on the Maria Mulder second album, I'm a Waitress in a Donut Shop. I can't remember who did it first. They might have done it first, but I don't remember. And just a really, I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande. Beautiful records. They're cheap records in America, I know. I don't know about the UK. And I say if you like kind of rootsy stuff, these are wonderful records. They sound great, well recorded. Again, they did one record on Warner Brothers that wasn't initially released, and then it came out. I don't know, it was after they split up, as I recall. One Bites the Dust, I think that's the name of it. But Dan Hicks and Hot Licks from the Bay Area, great, wonderful band, very different than the San Francisco sound. Of course, this was mostly in the 70s. The first album might have come out in 1969, as I recall, in Epic. But otherwise, great band. So thanks for watching, and thanks for allowing me to put an extra thing, and I'm glad you saw my cans. Take care, Mazzy loves you.